Now let's check out some videos of how to pay down some of that debt. Let's take a look.
Call your credit card company and ask them to lower your interest rate. When paying off credit card debt, this is the one hack that a lot of people overlook. A lot of people assume that their rate is what it is and there's nothing they can do about it, but that is not entirely true, and your rate might not be written in stone, especially if you're a long-time customer and you're a good customer. If you have a higher rate, that means it can take a lot longer to pay down your balances, and you can end up spending hundreds or even thousands more in interest. But let me tell you, a 5-minute phone call might be all it takes to lower your rate. Now, this isn't going to work for every single credit card company, because for some of them, it doesn't matter how long you've been a customer or how good of a customer you are, they are not budging on that rate. But there are a lot of companies that will. And if you call the first time and they don't budge, don't give up. Give it a few days, call back, see if you can speak with someone differently. And if you don't know what to say, here's a script that you can use word for word. And the key is really to take as much advantage of that lower rate as possible. And to do that, you need to avoid adding new charges and you need to make higher payments. Do those two things and you will start to make real progress.
This is a crazy hack that most people don't understand about credit card debt. Hey, I'm Rachel. I'm a money coach. I help people build wealth to achieve financial freedom. So there's a secret that credit card companies do not want to tell you about how they calculate that interest that you're paying them every month on top of your debt. When you get your bill, you see it as one charge that's happening one time a month, so most people just assume that they are getting charged once a month. But no, that is not the case. Credit card debt is calculated daily. They take the debt that you already owed them from the previous days of having a credit card balance and add it to the principal when they're calculating your debt daily. This is called compound interest. Your credit card debt is growing every day, and it's not just growing a little bit, it is growing exponentially because the amount that they are charging you on is going up every single day. While you definitely need to make at least the minimum payment every month, you should be striving to make far more than the minimum payment. And if you can make that across 2, 3, or 4 payments in any given month, you're helping yourself combat that credit card debt by just reducing the amount of interest that you're gaining every single day. The one caveat that I will say is I personally do not believe in paying off your credit card debt until you have at least a small emergency fund. That's because what tends to happen is that if you're using your credit card as your emergency fund, you will pay off a little bit of debt and then you'll just put it right back on the credit card and you're back to square one. So by having a few $1,000s in a savings account, like a high yield savings account, then that protects you from having to use your credit card and getting further behind on your credit card debt again.
We just spoke about that. Creating an emergency fund. What did she say? Like a first line of defense fund. So the emergency fund of the emergency fund. So you don't even touch your savings. Such a great idea. So instead of forcing yourself to pay down your credit card, start saving first. Pay your minimum payments if you can. Pay that first. And then whatever you can put into savings. And then over time, as your savings account grows to 500, 1,000, now you have an emergency fund. If you do think about, oh, I might need to use my credit card for car repair or whatever, you already have an emergency fund. And then you can still continue to make your minimum payments on your credit card, but establish that emergency fund first. I like it. And what I didn't think about is what she was saying. I know that there's compounded interest. But I didn't think about making multiple payments throughout the month, if you can, to try to beat that compounded interest, try to bring it down a lot more, because again, you're being charged on a daily basis, not once a month, although your APR is whatever it is, annual percentage rate, but there's also a daily percentage rate that is being added to your account. So even though you have an APR, I'll say this. There's a daily rate. If you look at your statement, it'll show you like 0.001, whatever it is. Take a look at that. You're being charged on a daily basis interest that is compounding every single day. So whatever the balance is this day is being added the next day and the next day and the next day and the next day. It could be pennies. It could be dollars. It could be a couple. Who knows? But either way, it's adding up. That's all I know. So if you can pay multiple times a month, as she stated, that's a great idea too. Makes me think I might have to start doing that.
This is how you pay off a credit card. So I want y'all to find one card that you're going to tackle. Too many of y'all are trying to tackle more than one card at a time. Let's not do that. So with this card, I want you to figure out what the interest rate is every month when you only pay the minimum, okay? Speaking of the minimum, if your minimum is $45, try to double or triple that each month, okay? You need to cut back on the eating out. I know that y'all be eating out because this country is addicted to sugar. So eating out is more appealing than actually cooking at home. You have to change your ways before you actually decide that you want to get out of credit card debt. If you don't, you're going to be stuck in the same cycle. So you decided that you're going to triple up on your minimum payment. Bet. Now you need to figure out how much interest is going to be added to that card every single month. Instead of you actually trying to figure out how much interest is going to be added to it, what I usually do is take the interest that I have been getting charged and adding it to the amount that I will be paying. That is going to help you know and figure out how long it's going to take you to get the card paid off. Paying off your credit card debt is not going to be easy, but if you give yourself time, you can get it done. Start with the smallest card, especially if you want to see a victory.
Start with the smallest card if you want to see a victory. That will help with motivation. So if I have a card that's $250 and I say, oh, you know what? Next time I'm going to pay that off. That's another card you don't have to worry about. Like, this is a card you can set to the side and be like, okay, paid that one off. Next. I guess that's the snowball method they were talking about. But yeah, these are some good, awesome tips, right? Say yes in the comments. I know they good tips. I know they good tips. But if you have any additional tips you want to add, make sure you do it. But the top tips that I take away from all of this is sacrifice, budget. You know, I like to write things down. Write it down. And also just make sure that you are, if you can, creating an emergency fund so that way you don't have to go back to using that credit card. That way you have money set aside for emergencies. The wants and the needs and the spending just because and all, it has to stop. It has to stop. If you want to get rid of that credit card debt, I'm not telling you, oh, don't buy that new shirt. Yes, I am. You don't need it. You got something in that closet. You got something in that closet. Anyway, thank you so much for being here. I hope this was helpful. Pass it along to the kids as they are becoming credit card savvy and wanting to buy everything too. Pass it on along. Give them the tips. Show them the example of, you know, you want to buy the latest this, that, and whatever. This is what's going to happen. You're going to end up in debt. And then you're going to end up trying to pay it all back. Let's start from the beginning and just not do any swiping. I know it's fun. I can't even lie. Shopping is fun. But there are consequences. But if you're at the point where you want to get out of debt and you want to, you know, get those credit cards off your credit history and all that stuff, take a look at these tips, use some of them, and let me know you use some of them or some of them were useful to you in the comments. As always, I appreciate you for being here. Thank you so much. Subscribe if you like, because I would like that. Take care, and I'll see you on the next video. Now let's look at some videos, right? Hold on. Let me get myself together. Look at that. Look at that. And yes, my hair is still looking crazy, and I'm going to keep a hat on or some type of wrap like this because my hair's natural. So it's going to just, either the roots are going to start acting crazy or it's not going to stay wrapped. As you can see, it's a little frizzy on the edges. I'm going to get it fixed. I am. Just when I want to record. The landscapers are here. Like, I feel like they're right behind me. Okay, I don't know what that is, and I think they out here cutting and chopping. Let's listen to see what Rachel got to tell us about how to. All right, hold on. I got one more. I got a couple more videos, some tips to share. You know, I'm loving it. Oh, my hair is looking crazy. Hey, y'all. Hey, y'all. Hey. I'm not even looking at the camera. I'm looking at the laptop behind the camera. So am I in focus?